I am 22 female working for a nonprofit, and a volunteer couple 20 female and 30 male wants a threesome with me. They creep me out and their behavior is starting to scare me. Throwaway account because I don't want to get fired. Reddit. I need help and don't know where else to turn. I feel like a sitting duck. Sorry this is so long. I've been at this small nonprofit organization for under a year now, hired fresh out of college, and I am an event coordinator. My organization has a large event that lasts throughout the summer and into fall to raise money for our funding and hence, we need a healthy supply of volunteers to operate efficiently. I get along well with all the volunteers and have never had a problem arise. Until now. When I was first hired, I was introduced to a loyal volunteer for my organization who we'll call Ryan 30 male. I was a little wary of him at first because of the vibe I got from him. But he was nice. So I let it go. Ryan would constantly help me out with things for our large fundraising event that I couldn't do myself, and was very helpful with educating me about the behind-the-scenes elements of this event. I was appreciative of his advice, but thought nothing more of him than simply a volunteer. Weird thing 1. Fast forward to around a month after this event begins, and Ryan starts showing up more and more unannounced at my office. He would stop by and visit my boss 50 male briefly, who he's apparently friends with, and would then come to my office and visit me. Each time Ryan visits my office, I tell him that I'd love to talk, but I have work to do. Instead of leaving when I say this, Ryan pulls out his laptop or his phone, a book, etc., and just sits there while still facing me right in front of my desk, sometimes for hours at a time. I can't figure out how to get him to leave, or say that it makes me uncomfortable. And he just sits there. Even if I leave my office, he'll still be sitting there when I return. Weird thing 2. Ryan has a biz-soul girlfriend who we'll call Mandy 20 female. Prior to dating Ryan, Mandy strictly dated women and still prefers women from what Ryan has told me. From what I've heard from Ryan, he met Mandy at his university and she began studying abroad in Asia in the beginning of the year. Mandy returned from Asia mid-summer and began joining Ryan in volunteering for my organization's event. Loyally. So far, she's been a nice girl. But she creeps me out like Ryan does. I constantly catch her checking me out. She will touch me on my hands, shoulders, and back constantly. Now, I don't have a problem at all with her being biz-soul or her checking me out. But it bothers me when I'm touched. I've told her this before and nicely asked her to stop. But English is not her first language, and she is not the best English speaker. I've relayed this concern to Ryan multiple times and he's said, "Oh yeah, I talked to her about it. But I don't think she understood. I'll talk to her again." I don't buy that since she seems to understand everything else I tell her. Weird thing 3. The thing that really scares me about Ryan and Mandy is that they follow me everywhere I go at this event. When they aren't actually volunteering at the event, they follow me. And Ryan encourages it. They literally shadow me everywhere, holding hands together like the two twin girls in The Shining. This behavior is now starting to continue after dark when we're breaking everything down. I am trying to avoid being alone with them at night, but it's getting harder and harder to avoid. Weird thing 4. Okay. So to the actual threesome part. Reddit. They have not said this directly to me, but one of the other volunteers gave me a heads up that Ryan and Mandy wanted a threesome with me. I brushed it off at first because the volunteer I heard it from is a very gossipy person and has been known to cause drama. But 1 week later, my good friend Sarah 20 female, very credible, was entertaining for the event and told me that Ryan admitted to her while he was helping set up her equipment that he had the hots for me and he and Mandy want a threesome to happen. Soon. Sarah also told me that I needed to watch my back with Ryan and Mandy and never be alone with them. Needless to say, I became much more concerned since hearing about that because Sarah never says things like this and neither Ryan nor Mandy had ever brought this topic up to me. Lastly, I have talked to my superior about their behavior, bothering me after this all happened. But he just brushed it off and said it was nothing to be worried about. I disagree. But I left the meeting with him feeling embarrassed, holding back tears of frustration, and doubting my instincts. Their behavior is sounding off blaring alarms in the back of my mind, and I'm doing everything in my power to keep a distance from them. But I feel helpless. Reddit. What should I do? Am I overreacting? What would you do if you were in my shoes? Too long didn't read. Volunteer couple following me everywhere at the seasonal event I coordinate. The boyfriend sits in my office and doesn't leave for hours at a time. Told a friend of mine that he has the hots for me and wants a threesome to happen soon with him, his girlfriend, and myself. The girlfriend is bisexual, prefers women, and is constantly going out of her way to talk to me and loves putting her hands on me. The head of the organization I work for brushed off my concerns about their behavior and told me I'm overreacting. I disagree. What would you do if you were me? Edit 1. I would like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who's given me advice or support. You guys made me tear up from all of your support, encouragement, and wonderful advice. I don't feel so alone with this problem anymore, and I thank you all for taking the time to read what I wrote and to give me the help I wanted so badly. On another note, I am heading to bed soon and will answer any other posts, questions, and comments tomorrow. I will also add a few facts that keep popping up in the questions. 1. My organization has no hour department. It's a small office. 2. My boss is the head of my office, and there is no one above him. 3. My boss is also the volunteer recruiter manager boss. Not me. I do logistics and I am technically not in charge of the volunteers. We have my interaction with a majority of our volunteers is minimal. 4. Yes, I am in the United States. Edit 2. Good morning. Reddit. I tried responding to as many people as I could, and will answer any more questions comments later. Today. Bulletin. My boss is not in today. And I don't know where he is. I haven't heard a peep. I have drafted an email to send to him regarding the meeting we had. For your advice. Thank you again. Reddit. I will also be sure to post an update about any further developments. Also adding another important fact. Ryan and my boss are friends. I know I said this in my original post, but I think a lot of people are missing this fact for some reason. Sorry guys. I should have bolded it. Again. I'll post any other clarifications that I can without revealing my identity. I don't want to get fired. Thanks guys. Update. Sorry for not posting an update sooner. I know lots of you messaged me to make sure I was still okay, and I thank you so much for your concern and care. Thank you to everyone who helped me on my prior post as well. Anyways, on to the update. First thing I did was send a follow-up email to my boss regarding the Ryan-Mandy situation, and I called the president of my organization's board, who will call Dan to discuss the problem with him. Following my call, Dan had me meet with him in person as soon as I was able to so I could tell him everything that was going on. When I finished explaining the situation in detail to him, Dan looked absolutely furious and demanded to know what if anything my boss had done to rectify the issue of Ryan and Mandy. I explained to him that my boss had done nothing to stop their harassment and downplayed my fear of the situation, likely because of the close relationship between my boss and Ryan. In closing of our meeting, Dan told me to document any further harassment and lack of action on my boss' part, and to alert him as soon as it happens. A few days later, I had a follow-up meeting with my boss regarding Ryan and Mandy's harassment. While my boss seemed to listen to my concerns this time, he also kept the meeting brief and promised action. Although he would not specify what that action pertained to. The next day, I was CC'd on an email that my boss sent to Ryan about a phone call he'd placed to him, and highlighting a few points, such as don't close the door to VolunteerThrow's office, and don't say X phrases to VolunteerThrow. I honestly couldn't believe my boss didn't cut Ryan and Mandy from our volunteer team, and felt frustrated all over again. And forwarded the email to Dan. The day following the email, I came into work to find a teddy bear on my desk with no indication of where it came from, no note, card, etc. Thinking Ryan had been in my office. I asked one of the office assistants, and he said that my boss had put it there and Ryan had not been in the office that day. I asked my boss why he put the bear on my desk, and he flat out denied it. Even when I told him that one of my coworkers had seen him put it there, he still denied it. I was very puzzled and sent an email to Dan about the situation. The next day, I run into Ryan outside of my office while walking with my boss. And he made a remark about wanting to sleep with me in front of my boss. So what does my boss do? He laughs. He ducking laughs and agrees with Ryan. He ducking gives Ryan a high five right in front of me. My boss apparently fantasized about getting me in bed just like Ryan did. That made me so angry that I felt my jaw lock up and my hands clench like a bear trap. I didn't have any time to confront either Ryan or my boss about their behavior right then because we were meeting with a client. But I immediately called Dan following the client meeting and left him a voicemail on his cell phone about the incident. Dan calls me back to ask me about the full story, and I tell him everything. He asks me to email him the situation in great detail and promised me he'd be in contact with me before I went back to work on Monday. Fast forward to early Monday morning, and I am awake and getting ready for work. I get a brief call from Dan telling that I have his permission to take the afternoon off. So I happily oblige. Later that morning, I get another call from Dan stating to instead take the whole Monday off and to report to Dan's business the next morning instead of my office. I agree. As planned. On Tuesday morning I go to Dan's office at the time I would normally start work, and he takes me into a conference room with 6 other people in it, the board members for my organization. Dan explains that he'd called an emergency meeting after I'd repeatedly emailed him the situation with Ryan and my boss both making comments about wanting to sleep with me, and they unanimously voted to terminate his contract Monday morning and evict him from the organization. Dan and the board members all apologized to me for what I endured there and informed me that Ryan and Mandy had both been informed that they are banned from volunteering with my organization in the future. They wouldn't go into many details about my boss being fired. But they did say that he wasn't cooperative. But I couldn't care any less. Because my problems are gone at my organization. In other news, I no longer work at this organization. During the problems at work I applied, interviewed for, and accepted my dream job in another state, and have since moved. So, I really couldn't be happier about my life right now. Thanks Reddit. Too long didn't read. Ryan Mandy's situation got worse at first. Turns out both Ryan and my boss fantasized about sleeping with me. Talked to president of my organization who basically said duck that stuff, and released him from his contract, fired him with the support of the board members. Also applied for and was offered my dream job in another state, which I promptly accepted and work there now. Conclusion: Dan is an awesome person. My career is taking a giant leap forward. And life is now great. I really love that the board did the right thing. And fairly quickly. Although I would love to just say yay. Taking soul topics seriously like they should. I can't help but wonder if there had been situations that already occurred like this that OP wasn't aware of and this was the final straw, or if OP's boss was a very crappy boss in other ways so Dan already was gunning for him, or maybe a little bit of both. I would assume that OP's boss wasn't so stupid to be as blatant as he was if he'd already been warned about soul harassment previously. But then I think of some of the dumb a-holes I've known who pulled similar crap repeatedly and then were shocked when they got fired over it. A crappy guy, not her boss, that my friend got fired for solely harassing her, and many other women was shocked that he was fired because all the harassment was verbal, and when he the woman was alone. So even though he was explicitly told by management that if he received one more harassment complaint he'd be fired, he still remained convinced that as long as it was just he said she said, they couldn't actually fire him. Because it was hearsay. He literally yelled that while being escorted out of the restaurant they worked at. And then put that restaurant down as a reference for his next restaurant job and was shocked when they told the prospective employer that he was fired for sexual harassment. So yeah. I guess it's best not to underestimate the stupid crap that people do. Even after they've been warned. Yes. The board handled it professionally so that both sides were protected appropriately. And asked for more evidence they could independently verify. I am so glad she had support. Non-profits can be absolutely vile. Exploitive places. I worked for a traveling arts non-profit just out of college. My immediate boss kept sneaking into my showers, we were crashing in high school gyms, and showering in the locker room. I approached the executive director, and was subjected to a screaming, spit-flying tirade about how I was killing the organization and ruining the experience for everyone. 15 years after that, the executive director was finally brought down when 11 women came forward with proof to lock him up. He served 2 years of probation and paid a $5,000 fine. This just breaks me. Second story. I am 25 male, confused about my sexuality after my girlfriend 27 female got me to have a threesome with my best friend also 25 male, technically 24, but he'll be 25 next week. I've been dating my girlfriend for almost 2 years, and I just moved into her place recently. She knew I was a little bi-curious. It's hard to explain because it wasn't like I wanted to or needed to try it, but more so like if the right situation arose I'd explore, if that makes sense. Knowing this, she's been pushing for asking for a threesome with another guy for some time, as it's been a fantasy of hers. Honestly, her pushing made me uncomfortable, as it's not something that has interested me, but eventually she wore me down enough to agree, if we found a guy I was okay with then maybe we could. I never really thought we'd find a guy, as the only ones I ever really considered was friends, most of whom are straight or completely gay. She just kind of kept at it, guy after guy, saying, what about him, or him even asked about looking on apps, which I said no to. Finally, I said my best friend, thinking he's completely gay, would never agree to it, plus I wasn't going to ask him. First time after that talk, when he's over, she asks him. Just flat out asked him. He laughed thinking she was joking, but she kept asking and bringing it up. I just sort of stayed quiet, which he noticed cause he asked her to let him think about it, then brought it up to me first chance when we were alone. He let me vent and explain everything to him, and he told me that it doesn't sound like I actually want to do it, so I shouldn't, but that if I did truly want to he'd do it, and stressed that it's something I should only do if I actually want to. Well, I thought about it a lot and talked to her more about it, and she promised me that if we did it would only be this one time, and she'd drop it, never bring it up again. So I agreed to make her happy. Plus I figured it would be good to know for sure if it's something I even like. We told him and set up a night for it. He privately made sure that I was truly on board. The night came and we had the threesome. It was different. Then I thought. I enjoyed being with him more than I think I've ever enjoyed being with any girl before. But not just the physical act, the after too. After she went to shower and we stayed in bed, which led to some cuddling. Him holding me, the only way I can describe it is it felt right, it felt like this is how it's supposed to be. Honestly now, I'm wondering if I'm gay or bi. Being with women was never bad, I enjoyed it, so I don't know how I could be gay, but at the same time it's never felt like that ever with any girl, so I don't know if I could be bi either. I can't stop thinking about it or him. I've always loved him, but now that I know what being with him like that is like, I think I might be in love with him. I feel lost and don't know what to do. I don't want to hurt her or him, so please help me. Edit for clarification. A few people have talked about being with someone who cares about you and comparing the two of them, but it's not just them. It's him compared to all women. For example, the after when we cuddled, I've done almost the exact thing with a girl, and it never felt the way it did with him. Edit. I talked to my brother last night, and he let me stay with him. My girlfriend was out with friends, and as much as I wanted to talk to her last night, he didn't think my emotional state with her drinking was a good idea. I am going to break up with her. I feel stupid for staying with her this long, and for not figuring out this stuff sooner. I am gonna stay with my brother and clear my head, then I'll talk to my friend. I think I might be gay cause I really can't imagine being with a girl again. Being with a guy excited me in a way that girls never have. Update. So after my last edit to my original post, I did break up with my girlfriend. My brother and his friends helped me move my stuff out during the day, as it was her place originally. Once he knew everything, he insisted on being there when I broke up with her, even if in a different room, and I am glad he was there. She reacted like I expected and started threatening to hurt herself. When I told her I'd call 911, but that we were still over, she smacked me and got nasty. Called me a bunch of names, said she knew I wasn't a real man the minute she saw me kiss my friend, and tried to stand in front of the door to keep me from leaving. My brother told her if she didn't move he would call the police and report the assault and threats of self-harm, and snapped a pic of my face red from the hit to nail home the point. She cried and begged me not to go but did move so we could leave. I ended up blocking her that night cause she kept messaging going from sweet and begging to going off on me. My brother has been amazing through it all. Supportive and understanding, didn't bat an eye when I told him I think I am gay. He took me on a hike to his favorite spot to get out and clear my head. The day after the breakup got me mediating with nature. Yes, he's a sensitive hippie type. Also, he pointed out that it sounds like my attraction happens in a demi-soul way, which for those that don't know means, while I am gay, my soul attraction develops when I know have an emotional connection. Which honestly sounds about right, as the times I've thought about or imagined having ex have been with friends who are guys. Anyway, I also have talked to my best friend. Actually did last night. He wasn't surprised about me realizing I am gay, as my ex had already messaged him to go off. However, he was very surprised about me having feelings for him. Some of you had said he might have only said yes to the threesome to get to be with me because he had feelings for me, and you were right. That said, he knows I am not in the headspace to dive into something even if we both want it. So we agreed to take it extra slow. Perhaps go on a date in a week or two, but till then I have his support and friendship through this. He, like my brother, suggested therapy, so I am gonna look into it. I was able to get some cuddles and he stayed over, so I got to wake up to him for a second time. It was just as amazing the second time, even without having done anything more. Though I did sneak in a kiss when we woke up that made him smile, giggle. Today I got the fun of damage control, as my ex had apparently put me on blast, outing me to most of my friends. None of who were happy about her pulling this. A few told her off and agreed with me when I said it was a massive violation of privacy for her to do this when I am still making sense of it all. I even got a few messages from her friends apologizing about it too, and offering support. Not gonna lie, I am spinning and scared, but also catching a breath, realizing just how free I am now that she's out of my life. Thank you all again. My main takeaway from your post is that he treated you far better than your girlfriend during the whole process. Where she was pushy, inconsiderate, and unmindful of your concerns. He took time to listen, make you comfortable, and was considerate of your feelings. Swality aside, she does not sound like great partner. Maybe some time apart to sort through your feelings would be best. Also worth considering that one's soul experience does not define your sexuality. 3SUMS are a really exciting, weird experience. There's more moving parts, more communication, more nervousness, and more contact. You're going to feel more just because it's all so much more. When you have the cool down after that exciting soul experience, your bonding hormones were flowing with your best friend, not your girlfriend. That's going to change your view of everything as well. You don't need to do anything right now. Being bi leaves you on the bicycle with wavering between gay, straight, pan, or ace. That's normal. Weird feeling. And confusing. Consider it an opening of options instead of a closed hallway where you have to pick a path. You now know that you can choose the quality of your relationship and bond over the gender of your partner. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.